Hello YouTube, Mike Kohanam here. Today I'm going to show you the Gladiator Beast deck I used to get to Duelist level max in the recent Kaiba Cup. Gladiator Beast just got the domain of the Gladiator Beast Archive skill, which makes them way better than they've ever been, plus a bunch of new cards that bring them to new competitive heights. The deck is still susceptible to really bad hands, so you do occasionally brick with the deck, which is keeping it from being a deck that's at the very top. But it is a lot of fun to play, and Gladiator Beasts have always been my favorites ever since I went to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading Card Game World Championship with them in 2009. While I'm sure there are other decks that I could have used to get to Duelist level max faster in the recent Kaiba Cup, there's no deck more enjoyable than this one. In this video, I'll show you what the deck can do, what the skill does, what the cards do, the basic combos, and show you some replays. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. First off, the domain of the Gladiator Beast skill requires you to use at least 8 Gladiator Beasts in your deck. That's really not a problem because most Gladiator Beast decks run at least 8, since you do want to have a lot of options to go into when either you tag out a Gladiator Beast or you're trying to special summon one from your deck by another effect. It's also worth noting that you can't special summon monsters other than Gladiator Beasts except from the extra deck when you're using the domain of the Gladiator Beast skill. What this means is you can't special summon from your opponent's graveyard, which means you can't use cards like Ice Dragon's Prison. That's relatively inconsequential for this deck, and it's a fairly small drawback for the power that the skill gives you. The upside to the skill is that by revealing a Gladiator Beast from your hand, you'll be able to set Gladiator Rejection from your deck, graveyard, or banish zone. This is Gladiator Rejection. It's a continuous spell card. Because it doesn't have Gladiator Beast in its name, it's not searchable by cards like Test Panther, so using a skill to get it is really beneficial for the deck. What it does is it makes all of your Gladiator Beasts impossible to target, for your opponent to target, except during the battle phase. What this means is if you use the effect of Gladiator Beast Geyserist to destroy your opponent's back row cards, and you hit stuff like Crackdown or Compulsory Evacuation Device, your opponent can't chain them because you're in your main phase. This really amplifies the power of Geyserist in this deck. In addition, the most important aspect of what the card can do is when you special summon a Gladiator Beast from your deck by any means, it doesn't have to be by the effect of a Gladiator Beast, you can special summon another Gladiator Beast from your deck of a different type once per turn. By using a card to special summon something like Gladiator Beast Andal from your deck or Gladiator Beast Bestiari, you can then use Gladiator Rejection to special summon another Gladiator Beast and instantly fusion summon Gladiator Beast Geyserist. So Gladiator Rejection not only will protect your Gladiator Beast Geyserist, but it will also allow you to summon it more easily, as well as summon other fusion monsters like Gladiator Beast Domitianus. The bad thing about the skill, and what makes it a little bit inconsistent, is that you do have to draw one Gladiator Beast in your opening hand in order to use the skill and set the rejection. The problem with this is that generally, you'd rather draw cards from your deck that special summon Gladiators from the deck rather than drawing the Gladiator Beasts themselves. In a really good hand, with the skill, you want exactly one Gladiator Beast in your hand so that you can reveal it to set the rejection with the skill, and then you'll have a bunch of spell cards that summon from the deck to extend your plays. You can't control what you draw. I was playing in a Duel Links main event last week and once opened up with 4 Gladiator Beasts, despite there being 9 in this 27 card deck. The deck I built did go through several iterations from the bottom of the Kaiba Cup all the way to Duelist level max. This is ultimately what I settled on because I think this is what was working best for me. As I mentioned before, special summoning from the deck is really important because you basically have Gladiator Rejection on call to set just by activating the skill, and then by flipping it face up, you can use one of several cards in the main deck to special summon from your deck and then get an extra monster with Gladiator Rejection. Unexpected Die special summons Gladiator Beast Andal, and then Rejection can special summon Bestiari so that you're able to fusion summon Geyserist. You could always go for Vespasius as well and then normal summon a Gladiator, or set one, so to fusion summon Domitianus. Fusion Deployment, which is actually a card that we've been seeing quite a bit in Despia branded decks in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, is kind of a cool card in this deck because it lets you reveal either Geyserus or Domitianus from your extra deck to special summon either Bestiary or Vespasius. So it is a lot like Unexpected Die, but it can actually special summon the effect monsters from your deck. The only problem with the card, well, two problems really. The first problem is that it's on the limited 3 list. So since I'm using it in this deck, I lose access to stuff like Crackdown, which would be nice to play. The second problem is it locks you into fusion summons for the entire turn. So it's not just after you play Fusion Deployment. It means that if you summon a monster from your extra deck that's not a fusion earlier in the turn, you then can't activate Fusion Deployment. This is a problem because Test Panther is often a card that you do want to go to in this deck to search for the Gladiator Beast card you need. And if you draw Fusion Deployment, you'll really have to choose between whether you're going to summon Test Panther or activate Fusion Deployment in that turn. While Fusion Deployment and Unexpected Die work fairly similarly, Rescue Rabbit is another monster you can use to special summon Gladiator Beasts from your deck. By banishing it from your field, you get to summon 2 copies of Andal. And then Gladiator Rejection will trigger, allowing you to summon either the Bestiary, which can be used to fusion summon Geyserus, or the Vespasius, which you could use to summon Domitianus. Rescue Rabbit is the most powerful opening play, at least for a normal summon, because it gets 2 from the deck, and then you get the 3rd from Rejection, assuming you're able to use the skill because you opened up with a Gladiator Beast as well. But unlike the Gladiator Beasts themselves, which can't be targeted while you have Gladiator Rejection up, Rescue Rabbit has no such protection. So they can stop it with Effect Veiler, Crackdown, or any other card that they may want to use to target it and get it off the field before you banish it. So Rescue Rabbit is really best in your opening hand going first. I'm using Gladiator Beast United in the deck as well because it's searchable by Test Panther, so it's another play you can make. It's really the same for Gladiator Beast Charge and Gladiator Beast War Chariot. Charge destroys an opponent's face-up card. War Chariot negates a monster effect, and it's a counter trap. There's just one of each in the deck because I like to have the option to search for with Test Panther. For those who don't know, you can link summon Test Panther by combining any Gladiator Beast with any other monster you control, send them to the grave, summon Test Panther, and then its effect immediately activates to add a Gladiator Beast card from your deck to your hand. That includes Gladiator Beast United, which is basically Miracle Fusion for Gladiator Beasts, which is insane. And it's even better in some ways because it shuffles them into the deck, and you can use monsters from your hand as well in that fusion summon. Just watch out because, and I've made this mistake several times, if you use Gladiator Beast United, you can't attack with non-Gladiator Beasts in that turn. So do not attack with Test Panther if you're planning to activate Gladiator Beast United that turn. Gladiator Beast Comeback is another card that I want to be able to search for with the effect of Test Panther. As far as the Gladiator Beasts themselves, Andal is the most important, just because there are so many cards in the deck that can special summon it, namely Unexpected Die and Rescue Rabbit. Bestiary and Vespasius are both critical to the deck, because Bestiary is the fusion material to make Gladiator Beast Geyserus, and Vespasius is a fusion material needed to make Domitianus. Geyserus will help clear the field by destroying 2 cards whenever it's summoned, whereas Domitianus is usually your turn 1 play, because it can negate a monster effect and destroy the monster that uses it once per turn. It allows you to choose your opponent's attack targets, which makes it tough for your opponent to attack your other monsters. It has 3,500 attack points by itself, which is pretty high. And with Gladiator Rejection on the field, it can't be targeted. So Gladiator Rejection, Domitianus is not the worst turn 1 opening play, but ideally you'll have back row cards like Book of Moon or one of the trap cards in the deck to sort of back it up. As for the extra deck, 2 copies of Geyserus is important because I often use Geyserus and Bestiary together to fusion summon a second Geyserus. You can't do that if you only have 1 Geyserus in your extra deck. Neurokius is just a fusion of 3 Gladiator Beast monsters. Easy to make with Gladiator Beast United. Rarely comes up, so if I were to cut something from this deck, it's probably Neurokius. Domitianus is obviously really important because you need to reveal it to summon Vespasius with Fusion Deployment, and also it's your main boss monster for the deck. Esadari, like Neurokius, is really just there for Gladiator Beast United. And then Test Panther, I mentioned before, not only searches for any Gladiator Beast card when it's link summoned, but it also has an effect similar to that of Test Tiger, allowing you to shuffle one of your Gladiator Beasts back into the deck once per turn to special summon a different one from your deck in its place. I'm not using Test Tiger in this deck because I feel like it's a little clunky because you have to draw it with the Gladiator Beast. And while I acknowledge that it does combo with Gladiator Rejection, because shuffling a monster into your deck with Tiger and special summoning a Gladiator with Rejection up lets you special summon a second Gladiator as well. I just think that cards like Fusion Destiny, Unexpected Die, and Rescue Rabbit are better. I think that before I played Test Tiger in this deck, I would probably use Onslaught of the Fire Kings, which lets you special summon Laquari from your deck and works a lot like Unexpected Die. I would obviously have to fit Laquarian if I were going to do that. But I'm really focused on that one card, special summon from the deck, and then get a second card with Rejection. When you use the Domain of the Gladiator Beast skill, you don't need to send a card back to your deck. So in terms of raw card advantage, it's a +1, as we used to say in the old days, because it's just a free card. And then it gets you an extra card every time it triggers. With that, I'll show you some replays. Again, since it's an archive skill, you can use any character you want. I chose to use Zexal characters that I'm still working on maxing out the level for, since the experience points won't go to waste. So let's jump into this duel. I was at Duelist level 17 at this point. My opponent's going first. He's using S-Force. So he just summons 2 monsters, sets 2 back rows, and then I get a fairly good opening. Well, it's actually not a very good opening, because if he can stop the Rescue Rabbit, I just pretty much lose. But I do have the Gladiator Beast, so I am able to use the Domain skill to set Rejection. So I think at this point it's just summon Rescue Rabbit and Prey, which used to be a deck in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, except it usually made a Volzar Lagia at the end of the play. But that was my plan there. Since he didn't have anything for the rabbit, I feel it's safe to get Test Panther, which I do. I send back the monster with Panther, summon Darius. Darius targets Bestiary to special summon it. He returns the Rejection to my hand because he can't target the monsters. I'm allowed to just replay the Rejection. So he's really struggling not being able to target my cards. I book his monster, summon Geyserus. He goes for Reinforced Truth to summon another monster. But then I use United to fuse the Bestiary in my hand with the Andal in the grave, summon a second Geyserus, destroy the rest of his cards, and attack directly twice to win. Moving on to the next duel. I play against a Toon deck in this round. The Rogue decks are pretty easy to beat because they don't have that much resilience against Gladiator Beast Geyserus. So sometimes you just brick and there's nothing you can do. But he draws a pretty good hand for a Toon deck here, where he gets Toon Bookmark, Toon Kingdom, and a bunch of Toons on his field. So I have my work cut out for me to try to get rid of everything. But I am able to use Rejection, summon Unexpected Die, get Bestiary, activate Unexpected Die, summon Andal, get Bestiary, and summon my first Geyserus to try to destroy the Toon Kingdom. Bear in mind the Toons can't be targeted because Kingdom is on the field. So he protects the Kingdom with Bookmark, and now I just need to keep destroying stuff. So I summon the Rescue Rabbit, get 2 Andals, make Test Panther. Like before, I search for Comeback, which I can use to bring back Geyserus. Geyserus' effect destroys the Toon Kingdom. I then send back the Andal with Panther's effect. get Bestiary and Geyserist for a third time in the turn. I attack with everything, tag out, and he's left with only one card and no Toon World. So at this point, the duel's pretty much won, and he does in fact concede. Just note, I had Fusion Deployment in my hand, but couldn't use it because if I did, I wouldn't be able to use Test Panther in that turn. So this is against Sky Striker, which is hands down this deck's best matchup. I've lost one time against Sky Striker in the several times I played against them in the Kaiba Cup, and the only reason I lost that time is because he opened with Mystical Space Typhoon. But generally speaking, once you get Rejection face up and your opponent can't target your Gladiator Beasts, they can barely do anything because Afterburners targets a Gladiator Beast. And you can't use the Spell or Trap Destruction effect unless you're able to actually use it to target something. And Jamming Waves can only target face down cards, so face down Spell and Trap cards, so it cannot target your face up Rejection. So you'll see this game is pretty typical of what happens when you play against Sky Strikers. But immediately I start with the Rejection using the Domain of the Gladiator Beast skill. Flip it, activate Unexpected Die, bring out Andal, and then I can get Bestiary and start destroying cards. Geyserist can't be targeted. So I target two of his cards, he flips Widow Anchor, I guess not realizing he can't target my Geyserist, and he's forced to target his own Shizuku. I then use Fusion Deployment, Normal Summon a second Geyserist with the monster I Normal Summoned and the Bestiary. He uses... So I destroy the rest of his cards, he brings back Ray, he uses Ray's effect to summon Kana. Kana stops one Geyserist from attacking. But then I'm able to attack with the other, and I actually get Retiari here because he had 3 spells in his grave, and Retiari banishing 1 brought it down to 2, so he only got the Search with Engage. Retiari is in there for this purpose, and also to disrupt zombie decks. So he goes for Kagari, he uses Engage, and again, there's really just not that much he can do. I'm not leaving non-gladiators on the field, he gets Afterburners, he's able to destroy his Kagari to destroy my Rejection, and use Magnet Reverse to bring Shizuku back, but there's really nothing he can do. This is by far the deck's best matchup. In this duel, we're both at Duelist level 18. I wasn't that careful to record a full 10 duels this time. This was a level down match, so it was after several losses, but I am proud to say I never actually did level down. Sometimes you brick, there's nothing you can do. This is a good hand, except for the fact I opened up with Gladiator Rejection, which means it's like I'm using no skill at that point. So let's fast forward through his turn, see where it ends. The other good thing, though, is if they destroy your Rejection that you hard drew, you can then use the skill to bring it back, because it's a once per duel skill, so if you hard draw it, you can then use the skill later, if it leaves the field. But I activate the Rejection, use Unexpected Die to summon Andal, special summon Bestiary from the deck, summon Geyserist. I don't know why he warning pointed the Bestiary, but apparently I am still able to send it to the deck to special summon Geyserist, because it's not considered a fusion summon. So that was a huge misstep on his part. But a lot of people seem to be unfamiliar with these cards. Anyway, I make Test Panther, get comeback the Geyserist I sent to the grave. He summons Neos Weissman with the monster's effect. And then I summon Utopia and S39 Utopia the Lightning. This was like a questionable inclusion in the extra deck, but it really comes in handy in situations like this, where the opponent's monster has a powerful effect that activates when it battles or after the attack's declared, because Utopia Lightning stops that from happening. So definitely putting in work in that duel. Here's another duel at Duelist level 18 against Kite. This is the Galaxy Eye deck. This matchup can be tough because it has a high attack points. Their monsters have high attack points if they go second, but they're not nearly as strong going first. So I'm fortunate to go second in this duel. We'll fast forward through the opponent's turn again. And I start with a great hand because it has exactly one Gladiator Beast in it. So I'm able to set Rejection from my deck. Plus I have a bunch of cards to special summon from the main deck. So I use Rejection, activate Unexpected Die, summon Handle, get Bestiary, Geyserus him. Summon Rabbit. Link summon Panther, sending Geyserus to the grave. I get United. Use Unite to bring back Geyserus, destroy his card, and he just concedes. Rather, come back to get Geyserus, destroy his card. And with United in hand, it's over. And this final replay, which is at Duelist level 19, I'm up against Quentin. I think it's definitely better to go second. When you go first, you're typically just summoning Domitianus. I didn't save any of those, I guess, but those replays. But generally, you're just summoning Domitianus. Ideally, you can test Panther and summon Domitianus, but it really does not happen often. This way, you can search for a spell or trap card to back up your... Or rather, search for a trap card to back up your Domitianus. Because ending with Domitianus and Rejection is not bad, but you really want another trap card or a Book of Moon to back it up further. So in this duel at Duelist level 19, I'm playing against Shiranui. The Retiari I added to the deck as I climbed the ladder, realizing how strong it was in matchups like this, and zombies and Shiranui deck, including Shiranui and Mayakashi decks, are really popular. I did play against them several times in the Duelist Cup. So my opponent destroys Rejection right off the bat, which is really not great for me. But I'm fortunate to have the Book of Moon for the Sun Saga, so it can protect his stuff. And then I'm able to Geyserus, destroy cards, tag out Geyserus, and use Retiari to get rid of the Spectral Sword. So I'm really hoping here that the Spectral Sword being gone is really just enough to win. He does summon the Squire, and I fortunately did have the War Chariot to back it up. And it turns out that the Spectral Sword really was enough to win, because I summoned Darius, attack with both monsters, and then use Gladiator Beast United, which lets me send everything back to summon Nerokius. And unfortunately for me, he does have Warning Point, so I can't do anything about it. But I do draw Rescue Rabbit, summon 2 Andals from the deck, and the opponent concedes. So I slowed him down with Retiari on the Spectral Sword, and kind of got a little lucky there. But it's still destroying his entire field turn 1, which was a fairly decent field. Really shows you what this deck is capable of. Again, it's a fun deck to play, and it can make it to Duelist level max, as I proved in the past 2 weeks, because I got to Duelist level max on Friday, like right as stage 2 was beginning. Friday morning, actually, I got to Duelist level max. And the Gladiator Beasts are the only deck I used in the Duelist Cup. So that's it for my Gladiator Beast deck in Duel Links. If you think it's fun, if you like Gladiator Beasts, give it a try. It is... I'm not going to lie and tell you it's the best deck in Duel Links, but it is a lot of fun, and it is capable of reaching the top ranks in the PvP arena and the Kaiba Cup. So consider using it. I'm a huge fan of Gladiator Beasts. I've liked the deck ever since they brought me to the World Championship in 2009. So when I saw they got new cards in Duel Links, as well as a new skill that gets Gladiator Rejection, realizing how strong Rejection is from testing it out recently in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, I jumped right on the deck and couldn't wait to try it. If you have any suggestions about how you would change the deck and what's been working for you, let me know down in the comments. I'm always looking to improve it, and I'm curious to see what other people have been doing with it.